So the New York Knicks are going to the Eastern Conference Finals. It's the first time they've made it in 25 years, and they deserve a ton of credit for how they handled the Celtics. Look, they were down 20 points in game one and game two. And imagine you lost 8 of the last 9 games. You head to game one against Boston. You're a heavy underdog. It's the third quarter, and you find a way to come back in game one. You're like, okay, Celtics made a photo, whatever. Then you do it again in game two. The offense isn't humming. They're not really generating a lot of good looks, and defensively, they're just making it hard on the Celtics. What I love about the Knicks in this matchup was they didn't play drop coverage except outside of game three, and that was a huge advantage to the Knicks because they were able to guard their yard. Even Jalen Brunson was able to handle himself pretty effectively against Tatum and Brown, and they got Boston into isolation situations where they took these three-point shots, but they weren't quality shots. So the threes they were taking, yes, they shot better after game two, but their process was definitely off. And credit to the Knicks, even in game number 4, the Celtics had a lead at halftime and they stormed back. Mikal Bridges, we can't say enough about Mikal Bridges in this second round matchup where he had some amazing fourth quarters. I think it was game 2. He didn't score at all, and then he just turned it up a notch, got them back in the game, and the rest is history. We can say that it was a monumental upset, sure, but at the same time, the Knicks took it from the Celtics. We can say that the Knicks were the better team at the end of the day. Now, if you took the same series 10 times, would Boston win a lot of them? Probably, but that doesn't matter because at the end of the day, it starts at 0-0. And no matter how many games you lost against the opponent, once the playoff starts, it's a brand new ball game. And the Knicks deserve all the love from this performance because, again, you go into that series, you're down 20 points in the first 2 games, and you come back. Like, that's impressive stuff to me. As a Celtics fan, I'm not going to make excuses for my team. I'm just not. People are going to say, well, Jaylen Brown had a knee injury. We knew that going into the playoffs. Porzingis got sick. Well, he doesn't always rise to the occasion in the playoffs. And to be frank, he's not always healthy. Even last year's run, he missed the majority of that playoff run where they won the championship. And then we look at Jason Tatum, where he had the Achilles injury. They were already down 9 points in the fourth quarter late in that game. So the Knicks were going to go up 3-1. And you mean to tell me that version of Boston where they have a inconsistent Jaylen Brown because of the torn meniscus, partial torn meniscus that was reported after the series was over, and Kristaps Porzingis, who doesn't look like himself, he is sick out there, that the Celtics were going to come back and win that series with a healthy Tatum. I don't see that happening at all. Maybe they would have got to a game 7, but the Knicks would have won because the adversity that Boston was facing during this playoffs was just not in their favor. We go to the injuries, sure. We also look at the regular season. I've talked about before with the Boston Celtics. They jacked up way too many threes. They were at 40 attempts the year before. They brought up to, 42. They brought up to 48 this past season. And I just thought that was too much. You have to have some diversity in your offense and audible that you can go to. They usually had that in Kristaps Porzingis. The problem is he just wasn't healthy. And when he was out, he wasn't effective. So you got to rely on Al Horford to give you more minutes, Luke Cornett, and it's a recipe for disaster. And the Knicks took full advantage of that situation. And credit to them because, again, at the end of the day, the Celtics had game 1 and game 2. You can't blow 2 20-point leads and expect to win the series, especially when you're at home. You're not going to get away with that. It's the playoffs. And the Knicks were believing after up 2-0, and evidently they won the series. So I want to give a lot of credit to the New York Knicks. Also, let's talk about Cat. There was a matchup with Al Horford. He always took advantage of it. I remember the Celtics were up, I think it was 12 or 13 points in the second quarter. And it was game 2. Cat got them back into the game. I know Boston built a 20-point lead again, but he set the tone for the Knicks where he just hit some big shots. He didn't settle for 3-pointers. I know he took 6 attempts in game 6 just to bring a different look out there. But for the majority of this series, Karl-Anthony Towns was super aggressive in getting to the paint consistently and generating good looks. Of course, we can't say enough about Jalen Brunson, probably the best clutch performer in these playoffs left. And, Deuce McBride was huge in the series, knocking down some big shots from 3, getting that momentum on the Knicks side, especially when they were making that comeback to start quarters. And let's talk about closing quarters. The Celtics did not do a good job putting their foot on the gas and saying enough is enough. They didn't stomp their throats on the Knicks, and the Knicks got back in the game. And every time the Celtics built those leads, it was like 18, 20 points. Knicks got down to 10 by the end of the third quarter. It was like, well, they're right in this game. They kept doing that to the Celtics, and they deserve a ton of credit. We can make excuses for the Celtics all day long. We can talk about injuries, but that's just sports. Injuries are bound to happen. And even before Tatum got hurt, they were going down 3-1. They had the lead, and they just blew it, and the Knicks took it at the same time. It's a combination of the Celtics playing bad basketball, but also the Knicks playing better basketball, just being a better team. And again, you just can't blow 2 20-point leads on your home court and expect to come back. Just won't work out. So for the Knicks, man, like y'all deserve all the credit. I mean, I'm really happy for them because as a Red Sox fan, I can be okay with a team who hasn't been in this situation for a long time. I know it took them 86 years to win a World Series, come back 3-0 against the Yankees, and to see the Knicks get to the conference finals is an impressive accomplishment. I know the fans were going crazy afterwards. I saw the tour bus for the Celtics driving back, and they would just harass him. It's all love at the end of the day, and it's good for the league. And the Knicks being this far in the playoffs is good for basketball. My thing is Knicks get the job done. You know, we don't know what's going to happen next year. There's always uncertainty. We know with the league's heading with the cap space and the Celtics going to do with the second apron and other teams as well. The Knicks got to take full advantage of this opportunity in front of them. They got to go out and get the championship. I know it won't be easy because on the other side of the West, you got to deal with either Minnesota or OKC. We know that Indiana is going to be a bloodbath. That's going to be a tough series. But again, you don't know what's going to happen next year, especially when you have Mitchell Robinson, who can't stay healthy, unfortunately. So you want to make sure you capitalize on this opportunity right in front of you. Is it going to be easy? No, but they're playing with house money. You know, they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. I know the pressure is probably going to be higher for them, but they've done a lot this year. You look at the trade for Karl-Anthony Towns. I thought it was a great trade to begin with. Even if they got knocked out by the Celtics, I had a good feeling the Knicks were going to be back at this spot next year, and they were going to win the championship. So they're a year ahead. That's fine. I don't mind being wrong. But, you know, the rest of this way, it's just going to be tough. And they deserve a ton of credit for putting this roster together, sticking with it, even when the Celtics were blowing them out. I know they got closer with each time they met up as the season progressed. But at the same time, you probably felt demoralized because you're like, man, the Celtics beat us down this year. We don't like the matchups. Yet in the playoffs, it didn't matter. The Knicks have gone to a different level. My only fear is for the Knicks, can they maintain their health because they play 7 guys? I hope they can because, you know, this team has a really good shot of obviously getting to the finals and pulling off, you know, the ability to win the championship. And I know for Knicks fans, you guys are waiting for that. So we shall see how that all plays out. But when it comes to the Knicks, you know, was it a fluke? Did they get some luck? Sure, you could say that, but at the end of the day, you don't blow two 20-point leads and expect that things are still going to work out. You don't blow. I think they're up like 15 points in game 4 of the Celtics, and you expect, you know, to still win the series because again, the Jason Tatum injury is unfortunate. However, they still had a lot of other factors involved that we're not even thinking about or forgot about. You know, Kristaps' health, and then Kristaps, you know, he's always been a playoff dropper at times. And then you're relying on guys like Drew Holiday, Derek White, and the way they were getting their threes, it was different. The process wasn't smooth. The ball movement wasn't always there. They trapped Boston into situations where they had to score in isolation. And the Knicks were able to, you know, maneuver through that. And Boston did shoot the ball better after game 2, but it didn't matter. So, yeah, shout out to the Knicks. This is not an excuse-making video. It's not saying, oh, you guys got lucky. No, the Knicks deserve all the credit in the world. They were the better team. And, yeah, hopefully you guys can continue on this momentum drive you guys got going on. And we shall see how it all plays out against the Pacers in the rest of these playoffs. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Love to hear your thoughts about the Knicks making the conference finals. What do you expect from them going forward? And I'll see you in the next one.